What's up guys, Mike Thomas, aka the Young Trishula here. Today I wanted to talk about something that we did recently over on Twitch. You can check us out at twitch.tv/TrishilaTTV. We stream Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content over there all the time, so go check us out if that is something that you think you would be interested in. And on our most recent stream, we took a fresh account, brand new alternate account, and we took it all the way up to Platinum 1 in just about 10.5 hours. That includes crafting all of the cards we needed for our deck, and we even included a lunch break in there. So probably could have done it faster, but you know, your boy's gotta eat. Your boy has got to eat. I also did post the entirety of this run on the YouTube channel. I will link it down in the video description. So go check that out if you do want to watch the whole run, because it was kind of a crazy run. It was a lot of fun. Definitely something that you can put on in the background while you work, while you study, do whatever. And you know, it would help the channel out a lot if you just sat through that whole video. I know it's a lot to get through, but if you do want to watch through that entire video, I think it'd help the channel grow a lot. But anyway, I did just want to go over the deck that I played and just talk about it, because I think it's a really good deck for Master Duel, and I think that this little challenge run, or whatever you want to call it, kind of shows how effective it is at climbing the Master Duel ladder. So let's hop into it. So the deck that I played was Dinosaur, pure going second Dinosaur. This is actually a slightly modified version of my friend Hash, his list that got, I believe, second place at a Master Duel tournament a few weeks ago. We do not play the scrap cards. The scrap cards don't add that much to Dinosaur as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that the extra extenders are really worth it. And, you know, I'm not trying to make a negate board. I'm trying to go second and OTK my opponent. And at that point, we already have Misk to deal with everything. So I don't think the scraps are going to help out too much. Without giving away too much, let's just hop straight into the deck profile. And as always, it's going to be a little bit disorganized, a little bit chaotic, because Master Duel still will not let me organize a deck in a way that is conducive to a deck profile. So obviously, we start off with the 2 copies of Oviraptor, because Oviraptor is at 2. I mean, this is the only card that's hit in all of Dinosaur, so we just play 2 of it. But that's no problem, because we do have the 3 Miscellaneous Saurus, which is arguably the best card in the Dinosaur deck. So I'm definitely not going to complain about having only 2 Ovi. We played 2 Animadorns, and we did pull a Royal Animadorns. Look at how beautiful this boy is as a Royal Rare. Animadorn obviously being the kind of combo enabler of the deck, acting as kind of like a Dragonic diagram to pop the 2 Baby Ceratosaurus and the 1 Pteranodon. This is just how you multiply out your bodies and kind of get the ball rolling. And of course, Animadorn also leads you into the boss monster of the deck, UCT, which is absolutely insane when you have to go first, and also just crazy going second because of how much damage it does. We also played the 1 Pankratops because it is searchable, and this is a blind going second deck, so good card, makes good trades, definitely very nice to have. And then we did play the 1 Giant Rex. Now, unfortunately, Giant Rex you have to play in Master Duel. You know, I think a lot of Dino players aren't too fond of Giant Rex. It's never really been my favorite include in the deck, but definitely not a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. Though I think you do have to play it in Master Duel because of the Max C in the format. Having that extra level 4 body allows you to go for lethal pushes through Max C a lot more effectively. So I think you do have to play the card, and it did come up for us quite a bit. Now, moving on to the spell cards in the list, we'll get to the defensive cards at the end. We played the 3 Fossil Dig, which we also managed to pull a Royal Rare Fossil Dig. So this run was pretty blessed, not gonna lie. So we obviously have the 3 Fossil Dig to search 3 of any of the dinosaurs in our deck. Just having so much consistency is just insane. We played the 2 double Evo Pill. Obviously, this card lets you cheat out the UCT and the Pankratops, so very nice card, and definitely one of the cards that makes this deck really strong. We played 3 Prosperity for consistency. Also, even though this is a blind going second OTK deck, Prosperity is totally fine because you can easily push out 16,000 damage with this deck. Definitely no concerns there. We then played 3 Lost World. Now, Lost World is actually a combo card in Dinosaur. If you're unaware, it gives your opponent a token, and if that token were to be threatened, you can destroy a dinosaur from your deck instead. So So this card combos really well with Oviraptor, with you being able to go normal summon Oviraptor, protect the Oviraptor search with the Lost World, give your opponent a token, add Miscellaneousaurus, and then discard that Miscellaneousaurus, use the Oviraptor to target the token, and then save the token by popping a baby from your deck and kind of comboing off from there. So definitely allowing you to do a lot more than you might think when you only have just this Lost World and the Oviraptor in your hand. And of course, we play Terraforming to see that Lost World more consistently, since the card is so important. We played 2 Called by the Grave in the deck. Called by obviously is very important to stop stuff like Max C. It stops cards like Ash Blossom, stuff that really just kind of messes with the deck. And this is a little bit different than Crossout Designator, because Crossout Designator isn't very good going second. However, Called by is actually very strong going second, because you're able to hit things like Golden Lords in the graveyard. You're able to hit things like Sky Striker Ace Ray. Called by has more uses than just being a way to negate hand traps, and I think that makes it worth including in the deck, even though this is a blind second deck and we're not trying to build a board. For the defensive cards, we played 3 Ash Blossom, obviously to counter stuff like Max C. We played 3 Max C because it's Max C. We played the 2 Gamma, 1 Driver. Now, Gamma is actually kind of interesting in this deck because, as you see, we do play Cyframe Lord Lambda, so you can use this to protect your plays. Even if you have bodies on the field, you can use it to protect your plays. It's also really nice, too, because it's another way to protect your Miscellaneousaurus if you start with just discard Misk, banish Misk. So really cool card, really strong. It's also a really solid hand trap when you go second as well. This card came up for me quite a bit, and I'm really glad that I played it. We played 1 DD Crow and then 2 Imperm. Now in Hash's list, he played 3 copies of Impermanence, but I didn't want to bother crafting the 3rd Imperm because at the time I didn't have the UR credits. We do have UR credits now, but I at the time just didn't want to craft them. So I just threw in a DD Crow instead and called it a day and just started laddering. I ended up keeping the DD Crow in the list for the run because it kept coming up for me. There just kept being scenarios where DD Crow was good against stuff like Drytron, against stuff like Eldritch. So honestly, I'm really glad I played the DD Crow. I don't know if you are copying this deck, if it would be correct to play the DD Crow. When I was talking to Hash, he did mention that for ladder, for best of 1 on ladder, he does like to play 3 copies of Lightning Storm. I knew during the run, but I just decided that I would prefer to just stick with the hand traps because they were working out for me so well, and I honestly don't regret it at all. So that's up to you. Definitely something you can consider, though, if you find yourself queuing into stuff like Eldritch very frequently and you are struggling to beat it. Now, moving on to the extra deck. We played the 1 copy of Dulka. This is just here to stop hand traps. You can obviously use the Miscellaneousaurus to protect your whole field, so your opponent's not going to have good places to interact with you, but you want this Dulka just so that when you go into the battle phase, they still can't interrupt you during the battle phase. So Dulka's pretty nice for that. We have the Abyss Dweller, obviously to lock out the opponent's graveyard in specific matchups, though I don't think this ever came up for me. We did play the 1 Malevolent Sin. In a more perfect version of this list, this would be Castel. However, like with the DD Crow, I did not have the UR credits to make the Castel at the time before I wanted to start playing with this deck and really just kind of grinding out. And I noticed that Malevolent Sin, which basically does the same thing as Castel, I noticed that Malevolent Sin was just a normal rare, so I decided to make the Malevolent Sin instead, and it did come up for us. So, Malevolent Sin is nice. It has 400 more attack than Castel, so maybe this is just the better option than Castel. We played 1 copy of Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon is obviously very good into back row decks. You can just sit on this Tornado Dragon and get 2 free pops over the course of 2 turns. So really nice card, really nice for pushing through back row. Very glad that I played it. We played the 1 Baguska, which I don't think ever came up for us, but Baguska is there specifically for the mirror match. And in a best of 1 format, it's hard to say when you're going into a mirror match, but Baguska is really strong into the mirror or into a lot of decks that just can't deal with it. I don't think we ever summoned it. I think this frequently is just banished off of Pot of Prosperity, but if you're playing Dinosaur, I definitely think that you would want to play Baguska, because if you do get into a grind game with the mirror match, you can always, if a Misk resolves, get 2 Dinosaurs on the field, throw them into into a Bagooska and just turn off their entire board. So I think Bagooska is really strong for exactly that reason. Then we played the one Dugaris. Dugaris is obviously one of the most important cards in the extra deck because of its effect that allows you to double your attack stat of your UCT. So giving yourself a 7,000 attack point UCT is just so strong, like beyond belief. Very, very glad that I played Dugaris. It came up for us all the time. It was quite frequently how we closed out the games, because when you're playing in a best of one format, you can just go for the throat with a 7k UCT and rarely will you get punished for it. So it's very strong card. Very glad that we played the Dugaris. We played the one Linkuriboh, obviously to get rid of the Archosaur and set up the Secure Gardna so that you can resolve your double evolution pill. We played Cerberus and Phoenix. Cerberus did not come up for us, but Phoenix did. But just having the Link 2s that you can go off into to clear up some board space as well as chipping away at your opponent's board position is always very nice, very appreciated. Played the one Pentastag, probably one of the most important cards in the deck. Because the Lost World token is a 0/0, you can obviously go for this Pentastag, give piercing to your UCT, and it becomes even crazier when you combine that with Dugaris. Dugaris pump up the UCT to 7,000, and then you can immediately deal 7,000 points of direct damage to your opponent by attacking over the Lost World token, and it's just absolutely insane. So Pentastag is a very important card in the deck. And it's only a normal, so there is no excuse not to craft it. We've had the one Psyframe Lord Lambda. Lambda obviously is a good generic Link 2 that can bluff for the Gamma with your opponent, and if you do have the Gamma, it can just protect you against anything that your opponent wants to throw at you. If they have a Nibiru and you have a Lambda and they just want a Nibiru to maybe get rid of an annoying card on your field just before you go into your battle phase, you can just chain your Gamma in your hand, and not only do you deal with the Nibiru, but you also effectively summon another UCT, putting another 3,500 attack stat onto the field. So very nice for that. Now for the kind of the black sheep of the extra deck, we played Dagda, and this was because when I was building the list, I used Hash's list as a reference, obviously putting the list together very quickly, and Hash's list was built for a best of 3 format. It was not built for Master Duel ladder, and I crafted the Dagda and threw it in the deck anyway. I wasn't really paying attention, and a few games in, I kind of realized that this card was completely useless, that there is no purpose for this card in the deck. But I thought it was funny, so I kept it in the deck, and so we played the Dagda. The other reason to keep it in is just that it was another Link 2 that was generic, so I figured we may as well keep it in the deck. But I don't play this. This should just be Omega if you're gonna copy, or maybe a Logia. I don't think Logia is needed. I think Omega is a lot better, but you know, you have options. Just don't play the Dagda. We then played Nightmare Unicorn and Access Code for the occasions where you want to go into these two, pop cards on your opponent's field, and then summon a UCT and go for game. We did that a few times, but yeah, that was the deck list. The deck performed very well for us. I think we maybe dropped 5 games total from Rookie 2 to Plat 1. The deck performed extremely well, and yeah, I think this is definitely a deck that if you're looking for a good going second deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, this is 100% the deck to play. I think that this deck is just so powerful. You can just secure so many wins. It has a great Eldritch matchup, and you can afford to play so many hand traps that it ends up having good combo matchups too. So yeah, this deck just absolutely insane. Very happy with how it did, and I had a lot of fun making the challenge. So if you did enjoy this video, do drop it a like. It helps the channel out so much, or leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of this deck. If you are proud of me for getting all the way to Plat 1 in under 12 hours, or if you just want to say hi, just say hi in the comments, or consider subscribing. The channel has been growing so much lately, and I want you to be a part of that growth. I want to see you join in that growth and join us along this journey. But that is about all I had for you guys today, so I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video.